Hi. It's funny seeing you here. Today, I've returned to review more pens. Let's start off with the Skillcraft Big Right Gel Pen. This comes in blue. I can't find a size on it, but similar click. Like a lot of standard pens, let's just go ahead and give it a test. This is the Skillcraft Big Right Gel. It writes very nicely. I like this color. It's a good blue. Comes on pretty wet. All in all, pretty good looking. Let's do a smudge test. Surprisingly not much smudge. I guess I expected this to be a lot wetter than it actually is. That's certainly not ideal, but can you see that? There is, the lovely engineers at Canon have decided that I don't need to see that part of the frame. So I hope you can see that, because I can't. Anywho, speaking of Skillcraft, we're going to go up to two other Skillcrafts. I also can't find a name for this type. This one I found at an abandoned insane asylum. Asane is not a word. This one, similar, Skillcraft U.S. government. If you are in the U.S. government and know what type of pen this is and want to tell me, please let me know. But don't take these pens back because it's mine and I got it. So, bleh. Cool little, nice design. It's part plastic, part metal. Got a good click to it. The action's a little stiff, but let's try first with the Skillcraft U.S. government. Was not expecting this to write in blue. Not expecting this to write in blue. It looks almost identical to the gel, at least at a far distance. You can see there's actually a bit of difference in the amount of liquidity. I'm going to decide is the word we will use. The liquidity. This is a much drier pen, so I'm expecting it to perform better on the smudge test. Maybe a little better. S-M-U-D-G-E. What a weird word. I suppose, writing is much less bold. It's much more, I feel like less ink gets on the page with every stroke than with our Skillcraft Big Right. So this is the Insane Asylum pen. Again, very similar to the other Skillcraft, US Gov. Ooh, this one writes in green, but those years at that dilapidated, what is it? There's a fancier word for Insane Asylum, but I don't remember what it is. Anywho, this does not want to write at all, which is quite tragic, as that little green we can see actually looks quite nice. Might have to blow into this later to try to fix it. Next, we'll do a Papermate Profile Gel 0.7. This is the first one we've been able to find a size for, though I would assume those two were also 0.7s. This feels like a very wet pen. Much more like the Skillcraft Big Right than the Skillcraft US Gov. Wow, virtually no smudge. Maybe it's just the fact that this is the fourth pen I've encountered, but I really don't like the way this one feels in my hand. It's just a little, not very comfortable up here on that little snap part. Just the way I hold it in my hand is not, I don't know, it just doesn't really mesh well, but it certainly writes well, and there's almost nothing on the smudge test. The action feels good, the clicking consistent. All in all, let's move on. The next up is the VA Industries for the Blind. That could be Virginia Industries for the Blind, or Veterans Association for the Blind. What's the A in VA stand for? I think it's association. Anyways, I don't know why blind people need pens, but let's test it out. I can't... Ooh, this is a little sticky there in the beginning. Ooh. This is a little rough. You can see there's pretty clear areas where the pen just doesn't want to write for a little bit. Ugh. And it smudges terribly. Blind people, I think, certainly deserve better pens than this one. But it feels solid. Solid action. It feels very, very flimsy, very frail, very plasticky. It doesn't have the same sort of distinguished air that some of our nicer Skillcrafts have. Next up is the Zebra Z-Grip. This is a classic pen you can find on the floor of any middle school. It's got this metal clip part. That's the only, well, outside of the tip of the pen, that appears to be the only metal part to this, which is very strange. I suppose that makes it a little more durable than its plastic counterparts, but I also don't feel like there's a lot stopping me from just snapping this off anyways. Although I suppose that does take... Maybe it would bend before it would snap, I'm not sure. Let's test the action. Looks like there's a lot of crows or ravens on that building that you can't see over there. That's pretty cool. Nice. Alright. This is the... Ooh, that is... Ooh. There's something very fluid that I was not expecting about this. Where'd the word medium come from? Did I read? Oh, there's an MED. It's just, wow. This thing, I honestly hated it before I started. Well, it doesn't smudge very well. Decent on the smudge test, not as good as the Papermate Profile. But there's something just so flowing about this, just the way it spills out of the pen. That's a P, not an F. I know how to spell the word pen. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it. This just feels, there's almost no pressure I have to apply to get ink out. This was much better than I thought it would be. This is sort of the control pen. This is our classic Pilot G207, one of my personal favorites. Yeah. Nice and wet. We all know the vibes. Decent on the smudge test. It feels good coming out. And last but not least, I have a little surprise here. This is a cross rolling ball pen, a cross stylo roller. Oh, might be better if I put it in frame. This is a cross rolling ball pen. It's a stylo roller. I don't know, or it's a cross Bailey Light. Maybe that's the color. I'm not sure. Comes in this very fancy case. Now, I have used this before, so this isn't a true unboxing or anything, but just look at that presentation. Look how fancy this thing looks. Man, man, man. Set that box off to the side. It's got a good weight to it. This is probably heavier than every other pen I have here. It's got a good weight to it. I mean, I could like cave in a baby's head with this thing if I had to. If I was, ooh, man, attacked and I had to defend myself. Not a whole lot of fanfare on the pen itself. The cap is very fancy though. Kind of looks like a beer stein for an action figure or a very drunk Lego man. Minifigure? I suppose that's the more appropriate woke term these days. That was a weird joke. I don't really know why I said that. I could continue, but I don't think I want to. Anywho, we'll call this the Cross Stylo Roller. Ooh. It has this very nice, it's kind of hard to hear. Let me Take off the lav mic here. Almost like when I am writing, it's not the tip of the pen gets pushed in a little the second I write. One thing about this that you'll notice is that unlike almost every other pen we have here, there is no rubberized grip on this. So it's a lot heavier than most of our other pens. It's more durable. The materials certainly seem nicer. Can I open this part up? I can. All right. Take a look at the cartridge inside. Ooh. Whoa, look at that. This is a 0.5 millimeter. I'm really glad I added that leading 0. Hate for someone to think that I was writing with a 5 millimeter pen. This is the kind of thing that you would sign the Declaration of Independence with, or something other nice and formal like that. I think it would be fun if I got a big old quill pen. The stylo roller does decently well on the smudge test. And those are the pens we've had on display today. Let's do sort of a bit more writing. Let's do our cubes. I like the cubes. Bam, 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 bam. It's an ugly cube. I like this big right. That just feels good. It feels nice in my hand. It's not too heavy. It's got a good clip. We can open it up here and see what's inside. It's got a big, almost like Pilot G2 cartridge in it. Relatively light pen chassis. I like the rubberized grip. I don't know if we heard the action earlier. Let's just go ahead and... It's just nice. I like this. The Insane Asylum Skillcraft sadly does not work, but it does certainly look pretty. Skillcraft US Gov. Really was not expecting that to be in blue. I guess when I think US government, I think black ink. These are almost nearly identical, though. Actually, in the Skillcraft Big Right, there's this sort of, I guess, lightsaber-y effect. Me from the future, show the lightsaber thing that I'm talking about, where there's this outline of color, but on the inside there's this more clear white part, at least on these strokes here, which we don't really have on the Skillcraft US Gov. This is a very consistent blue. This probably won't, yeah. If I just do one stroke. Maybe that's imperceptible to the camera, but real pen enjoyers will notice it. Yeah, this is just slightly, not thicker, but fuller. It's a fuller ink. Let's do the Papermate Profile. Which one were you? You were this one. Papermate Profile, I have a billion of these. I'm not the biggest fan, but the way this worked on the smudge test, I should probably stop hating on this. Not bad. Throw you over there. Next up, the VA Industries for the Blind pen. Yeah, it's got this, I don't know, the cartridge, I suppose, looks, ooh, that's a little stiff to open. Oh, this thing is, I'm losing plastic components. Too many pieces. Can I find that? Oh my God! That was horrifying. Ugh, there's so many just parts to this. See if we can assemble this back together live. I think I bumped you, so now you need to be more like that, I believe. I don't know. Maybe there's too much space. Yes. It is very warm in this cardigan. Put in the comments if you've made it this far and you enjoyed the cardigan. I don't know if it was worth it. I'm quite sweaty. I'm very warm. I'm going to take a water break. Look at the cars outside. It's probably at least 75 degrees outside, and I have a t-shirt and a cardigan on. Anywho, back to pens. Let's finish this. VA Industries for the Blind. Yeah, there's these really annoying patches here that I am just, you don't really see that there, that I am just not a fan of. Not a very good pen. Next up is the Zebra Z-Grip Medium. There's just a beautiful flowiness to this that I just do not remember this Zebra Z-Grip having. Not a constant. Someone should really figure out a naming system for pens. It's a bit more standardized. This thing, ooh, it has a lot of peaches there. Pieces. Going to the country, gonna eat me a lot of peaches. I don't know why I took this out. I don't know if that adds any value. Yeah, there's just a great flow to the Zebra Z-Grip that I do not remember it having. This is something that when I was looking for pens to review, I was like, oh, this will be easy. I'll write with it, and then I'll say I hate it. But that's very rarely the case in the times I've done this. I feel like I'm much more of a pen enjoyer than I am a pen hater. Was this the Zebra Z-Grip? What was the last black one? Well, you're you. You're the Papermate. You're the VA Industries for the Blind. So you, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're number 5. We already did you. All right, next up is the Pilot G207. Nice. This is the standard. This is what we will compare everything against. That was, I mean, it felt good in my hand. It was easy to write. The color kind of has a similar lightsaber problem to the Skillcraft Big Right. Although I don't think the G2 is a gel pen, but maybe it is, as the capsules that the ink lives in look very similar. So maybe the G207 is a gel pen. And finally, the Cross Stylo Roller. Oh yeah, this is finer because it's a 0.5 millimeter pen. Very nice though. Very nice. Now comes the difficulty of attempting to rank these fine pens on display. It's pretty easy. Can I? Actually, let's put you off to this side. Ooh, yeah. It's about to get real. Snap into a Slim Jim, Kim Jong-il. So on the bottom in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th place will be the Skillcraft dash Insane. Is it Sanatorium? What is that word? Insane. SYLUM. You can tell this is the pen in last place because if you pay very close attention, you can see that it didn't write anything, which is not what one wants from a pen. Last place pen. Yeah. And then in 7th place is this VA Industries for the Blind. It at least writes, which puts it above the Skillcraft Asylum, but there's this just annoying patchiness to it, where if I was looking back at stuff I had written, this would bug me. And I could either go through and really, get a messy but full inked 7 here, or I can just do a 2-stroke 7, or I suppose a 1-stroke. I didn't pick my hand up, but this just, I don't know. When you first deploy the line, if you're not applying a lot of pressure, well, now that I'm saying that, it's not doing it consistently. But it's just, this pen is kind of finicky, and I don't like that. Sixth place. Now we have to start looking to the smudge test. I think I'm going to go, this next is the Skillcraft US Gov. This paper feels very weird. Maybe it's just a little bit of ink on my hand, I don't know. There's the writing on the Skillcraft US Gov is a little patchy, much less than the VA Industries for the Blind. And it didn't do well on the smudge test. And it doesn't feel particularly nice. It's not a bad pen by any means, but I mean, when we start ranking relatively working and fine pens here, we have to get a little particular with it. Yeah, it's a little, I have to really choke up on this grip to write with it. I mean, I could kind of go back like this, but that's just kind of uncomfy. It feels like there's not enough pen here, and then I have to get really crowded to this front. Now, I suppose mileage may vary, but, you know, you make a pen review. It's not hard, if you haven't noticed, to review pens. Wow. All right. Where was I? Our worst performers on the smudge test. Right now, for place number 5, I'm in between the Skillcraft Big Right, the Papermate Profile, and the Zebra Z Grip. The Big Right did the worst of the 3. The Skillcraft Big Right and the Zebra Z did about the same on the smudge test. Those both are certainly less than ideal, but still legible. I might give the slight edge to the Big Right, just because the ink is a little bolder on white paper, so it's a little easier, I think, to tell the difference. I feel like I can read this smudge better than these smudges. Then the sort of lightsabery effect on the Big Right, and when we were writing it, doesn't seem to be. This is a well-flowing pen. The profile's a little spotty. More spotty than the Skillcraft or the Zebra. I'm going to take the Zebra out of this discussion right now. And I'm going to say that the Papermate Profile is the 5th best pen out of this bunch. There's not a whole lot particularly to it. It's got a fine point. It's got a okay in terms of quality point. That was a little, I guess if you want to call it fine, you can. But I was not attempting to use that word as I suppose I was attempting to use it as an adjective, but you know what I mean. It's not fine as in there's not a label on this thing that says fine like some pens. Like the typical Sharpie has a fine point. It's also like a chisel tip and an ultra fine, which is like those little stupid like metal part ones that come with a little we're not talking about markers here. Where was I? Papermate Profile. Well, earlier when I was talking about how we kind of have to be a little particular when we're trying to figure out our best pens, this is where it gets difficult. I am shaking this whole table as I write. There's just not a whole lot to this pen. I mean, there's not much to complain about. I like the color of the ink. It's a relatively fine black. It did very well on the smudge test. Honestly, I'd say the second best on the smudge test. It it did adequately. Which one are you? It did adequately on the cube. I'm just not really jiving with how fine of a point this is. And it doesn't feel amazing. I guess I don't have to put in a whole lot of pressure, but this is also my list, so those are enough reasons for me to put this at number 5. And now next up, we're going to say it's between the Skillcraft Big Right and the Zebra Z Grip. In terms of the smudge test, I'd give a slight edge to the Big Right. In terms of boxes, actually, wait a second. I am now much more confident in my Papermate profile in 5th place. Yeah, I just don't like the hookiness of these lines. Maybe that was just how I was writing it, but you can tell the lines also a little kind of fades out there. Yeah, I seem to have this tendency to hook everything up when I take it off the page that I don't really have on everything else here. Almost like that line has a hook, 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 that line has a hook. And I guess, that line has a hook, that line has a hook. But it seems much more consistent. I think it comes down to the grip for the Papermate profile that is going to put it in 5th place. No huge flaw with the ink, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. 4th place, as much as I love writing with it, and I'll continue to use it in the future, the Zebra Z Grip. Grip has a P, not a B. There's something so wonderfully flowy about this that I enjoy writing with. I don't particularly love the color of the ink. It's not nearly as bold and dark of a black as the Papermate profile or the Pilot G2 or even our Cross Stylo. So it ends up being, top of the top half. This is number 4. Yeah, we're nitpicking now, but I like this. I will continue to write with this. But if you're a big fan of dark, bold inks, I don't think the Zebra Z Grip is right for you. In 3rd place, this is relatively easy just through process of elimination. Going to give this to the Skillcraft Big Right. This was a one that's pretty high up, despite its relatively poor smudge test. Not the worst, but definitely not anything to Skillcraft Big Right home about. That was kind of a layered pun there. That took a little bit out of me. That was. I'm gonna have to take a nap when I'm done recording this. Skillcraft Big Right. It's got a good smudge test. I like how bold this color is. This blue is much darker and more distinct than the Skillcraft US Gov. I like how it looks. It's not attempting to be that fancy or anything. All the parts are mostly plastic. But I like this blue grip. That lets me know that this is a blue-colored pen. The clip seems relatively tight. I don't know. This looks like a pen. This looks nice. It writes nice. I enjoy it. 3rd place. Then in 2nd place, the consistent and well-loved Pilot G2. 7. Did solid on the smudge test, not the best, not the worst. It has a good writing to it. It's consistent. It's thick. It's not too wet, not too smudgy. I like how dark the black is. I like it. 'Tis a good pen. 2nd place. Now in 1st place, we're going to give this to the Cross Stylo Roller. Now, technically, I think the Cross Stylo Roller did the best on the smudge test. It's got maybe not a flawless, but Certainly a above average cube. Probably the best on the smudge test. It feels nice in my hand. It's got a good weight to it. The one caveat is I don't know how I'm not going to run around with this. This is too nice of a pen. It's too weighted of a pen to keep on you and on your person. This is a wonderful desk pen. If you have a dedicated writing desk or a seat, if you're going to sign checks or something, or you want to, I don't know, I guess just have a fancy pen and not have to worry about losing it, this is the pen for you. I can't tell you about price, as this was a gift. Again, I do not buy any pens. I find them and or am given them. Although I suppose all of them are given to me. There's a large crowd of people assembling out there, and a lot of them have name tags. This is very scary. I hope they don't see me up here. Ah. Anywho, cross stylo roller. I'm gonna give this the #1 spot, and then let's just draw some hideous creature. I'm gonna draw one of these goofy people out here with their goofy name tags. Ooh, I like those wild eyes. Ooh, that banana teeth. And then and then we'll give you some weird looking boots. And then we got to give you your name tag. Ooh, make it look like you're running a marathon. Perfect. All right. It's hot and I want to take this off, so I'm going to. Thank you for joining me for yet another pen review. I may do another one of these. I might not. But thank you for 36 minutes. I really do this for 30, 34, 35 minutes? Thank you for 35 minutes of your time. It might end up being a little bit shorter than that, but still, this is... If you made it to the end of this very bizarre video, thank you.